The sound of the pen dropping onto the table echoed louder than it should have. Anna Lynn stared at the divorce papers in front of her. Her name, Anna Lynn, was written neatly at the bottom, beside David Chen's signature. Two names that once meant a lifetime now sat side by side like strangers. "It's done," David said flatly, sliding the document toward himself. His tone was calm, almost indifferent, as if he had just finished a routine meeting. Anna didn't reply immediately. Her fingers rested lightly on the edge of the table, pale and still. She had imagined this moment countless times, anger, tears, maybe even pleading. But now that it was here, all she felt was quiet. "Do you need anything else?" David asked, already standing up. She looked up at him. The man she had loved for 10 years stood in front of her, perfectly composed. His suit was immaculate, his expression unreadable. Not once did he look at her like she mattered. Behind him, through the glass wall of the office, Anna caught a glimpse of Sophie Wang. She stood near the hallway, elegant and poised, her eyes meeting Anna's for just a second before she looked away. That brief moment said everything. Anna lowered her gaze and shook her head. No. There was nothing left to ask for. An hour later, Anna walked out of the building with only a small handbag. No luggage. No memories. No place in that life anymore. The city was loud as always, cars rushing past, people talking, life continuing as if nothing had happened. Anna stood still for a moment, letting the noise wash over her. Then she took out her phone and booked a high-speed train ticket. Destination, home. The train station was crowded, but Anna moved through it like a ghost. She didn't notice the people around her, didn't hear the announcements clearly. Everything felt distant, like she was watching someone else's life unfold. She found her seat by the window and sat down quietly. Just as she leaned back, her phone rang. It was the housekeeper. Anna hesitated for a second before answering. "Hello?" "Madam," the familiar voice sounded uneasy. "You still have some belongings here. Clothes, books, should I pack them for you?" Anna looked out the window. The platform was filled with people saying goodbye, some laughing, some crying. "Just throw them away," she said softly. "I don't need them." There was a pause on the other end. Then the housekeeper spoke again, more carefully this time. "The little master, he's been crying. He keeps asking for you." Anna's grip on the phone tightened. For a brief moment, her calm expression cracked. Lucas. Her son. She closed her eyes. "He'll have a new mother soon," she said, her voice steady but distant. "The one he's always been thinking about." The words hurt more than she expected, but she didn't stop. "My son really takes after his father." Silence filled the call. Anna remembered all those nights Lucas had run past her, straight into Sophie's arms during family gatherings. The way he looked at Sophie, with admiration, with warmth. The way he never looked at Anna like that. "I used to wonder," Anna continued quietly, "why it couldn't be me." Her voice softened, almost like a whisper. "But now, I understand." Another pause. Then she added, "If he doesn't love me, then so be it." The announcement for boarding echoed through the train. Passengers began settling in. Anna took a slow breath. Before the train started moving, she spoke one last time. "Tell him not to worry." Her eyes glistened, but no tears fell. "I will never bother him again in this lifetime." She ended the call before the housekeeper could respond. The train began to move. Slowly at first, then faster, until the city outside blurred into streaks of gray and light. Anna rested her head against the window. For the first time in years, there was no one to cook for, no one to wait for, no one to please. No one to love her. Memories flooded in despite her efforts to suppress them. David working late, barely speaking to her. Family dinners where she sat quietly while others laughed. Lucas pulling his hand away when she tried to hold it. And Sophie, always kind, always gentle, always there at the right moments. Everything Anna wasn't. A single tear finally slipped down her cheek. She didn't wipe it away. Hours later, the train slowed as it approached a small, quiet town. Anna opened her eyes. The sky here looked different, softer, calmer. When she stepped off the train, the air felt lighter. Familiar. But also unfamiliar in a strange way. She walked out of the station slowly, her small bag in hand. At the entrance, an old figure stood waiting. Anna. Grandma Lynn's voice was steady, warm, and grounding. Anna froze. For a moment, she didn't move. Then, like something inside her finally broke, she walked forward. Grandma Lynn didn't ask any questions. She simply reached out and held Anna's hand. That was enough. Anna looked at her, her lips trembling slightly. "I'm back," she said. Grandma Lynn nodded gently. "Good. You're home." That night, lying in her old room, Anna stared at the ceiling. Everything was quiet. No arguments. No expectations. No cold silence. Just peace. And emptiness. She turned to her side, pulling the blanket closer. Her voice was barely audible in the dark. This time, she paused. Then whispered, "I choose myself." Outside, the night stretched on, silent, but full of possibilities. Morning light slipped quietly through the thin curtains, landing softly on Anna's face. She opened her eyes slowly, disoriented for a moment. The ceiling above her was unfamiliar, slightly cracked, painted in a faded shade of white. The air smelled faintly of wood and something warm, like cooked rice. Then it came back to her. She was no longer in the Chen house. No longer in that cold, silent marriage. She was home. "Anna, are you awake?" Grandma Lynn's voice came gently from outside the door. Anna sat up quickly. "Yes, Grandma. Come eat before it gets cold." "Okay." Her voice sounded normal. Too normal. As if nothing had changed. The kitchen was small but warm. Steam rose from a bowl of porridge placed neatly on the table, along with simple side dishes. Grandma Lynn moved slowly, placing chopsticks beside Anna. "Eat more," she said. "You're too thin." Anna gave a small nod and sat down. For a while, the only sound was the clinking of chopsticks. Grandma Lynn didn't ask about the divorce. Didn't ask about David. Didn't ask about Lucas. And somehow, that made it harder. "I'll find a job today," Anna said suddenly, breaking the silence. Grandma Lynn paused, then looked at her. "Rest for a few days first." "I'm fine," Anna replied quickly. "I don't want to waste time." She lowered her gaze, focusing on the porridge. "I don't have much money." Grandma Lynn sighed softly but didn't argue. "Do what you think is right." That was all she said. But her eyes were full of worry. By noon, Anna was walking through the town. Everything felt smaller than she remembered. The streets were quiet, lined with old shops and familiar signs. People greeted each other casually, their lives simple and steady. Anna walked past a cafe and paused. A hiring sign hung on the door. She hesitated for a moment, then stepped inside. "Do you have any experience?" the cafe owner asked. Anna stood straight, her hands clasped in front of her. "I used to manage a household." The owner blinked, confused. Anna realized how that sounded. "I can learn quickly," she added. The owner gave her a polite smile, the kind that already had an answer behind it. "We need someone with experience." "Sorry." Anna nodded. I understand. She turned and left quietly. The second place was a clothing shop. The third, a small office. The fourth, didn't even let her finish speaking. By late afternoon, Anna sat on a bench by the roadside, her shoulders slightly slumped. She stared at her phone. No calls. No messages. Her bank balance was still there, but it felt smaller with every passing hour. She had spent 10 years taking care of a home. But now, in the real world, it seemed like that meant nothing. A sudden wave of dizziness hit her. Anna pressed her fingers to her temple, trying to steady herself. "I'm fine," she murmured. But her vision blurred. The next thing she knew, everything went dark. "Miss? Can you hear me?" A calm voice pulled her back. Anna opened her eyes slowly. Bright white lights filled her vision. The faint smell of antiseptic lingered in the air. "A clinic. You fainted from low blood sugar and exhaustion," the man said gently. Anna turned her head. A man in a white coat stood beside her. His expression was calm, his eyes steady but warm. "I'm Ethan," he added. "A doctor here." Anna tried to sit up, but he lightly stopped her. "Take it slow." "I'm okay," she said softly. "Thank you." Ethan didn't argue, but he watched her carefully. "You haven't been eating properly, have you?" Anna hesitated. Then gave a small shake of her head. "I see that a lot," he said calmly. "People think they're strong enough to handle everything until their body disagrees." There was no judgment in his voice. Just quiet understanding. Anna looked away. "I'll pay for the visit," she said, reaching for her bag. "It's already covered," Ethan replied. She frowned slightly. "I didn't." "I covered it," he said simply. "You can return the favor by taking care of yourself." Anna was silent for a moment. Then she said, "Thank you." When she stepped out of the clinic, the sun was already setting. The sky was painted in soft orange and pink hues. Anna stood still for a moment, taking it in. For years, she had been too busy to notice something as simple as a sunset. Back in the city, inside a large, modern house. Lucas sat quietly on the floor, hugging his knees. "Lucas, dinner is ready," Sophie called gently. He didn't respond. Sophie walked closer, her expression soft but unsure. "Do you want your favorite dish?" Lucas shook his head. "I want Mom." The words were quiet, but they cut deep. Sophie froze. From across the room, David looked up. His expression didn't change much. But something in his eyes shifted. That night, Anna lay in bed, staring at the ceiling again. Her body was tired. Her mind, even more so. She turned slightly, curling into herself. "So this is what starting over feels like," she whispered. "No status. No security. No identity. Just emptiness." She closed her eyes slowly. "I don't even know who I am anymore." The room was silent. But this time, the silence felt different. Not suffocating. Just unfamiliar. And somewhere in that unfamiliar space, something new was quietly beginning. The bell above the bookstore door rang softly. It was a small, comforting sound, nothing like the sharp, cold noises Anna had grown used to in the city. "Good morning," a voice called from behind the counter. Anna stepped inside, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "Morning." The bookstore smelled of paper and wood, warm and familiar. Sunlight streamed through the large front window, casting soft golden light across rows of neatly arranged books. This place felt safe. "Come here," the owner said, waving her over. Miachin, no relation to David, was an old acquaintance from Anna's school days. They hadn't been close before, but when Mia heard Anna was looking for work, she didn't ask too many questions. "You can start with organizing the shelves," Mia said. "And help customers if they ask." Anna nodded. "Okay." She didn't ask about salary. Didn't ask about hours. Right now, she just needed a place to stand. Anna ran her fingers along the spines of the books as she arranged them. It was simple work. Quiet work. But for the first time in a long while, her mind wasn't overwhelmed. No expectations. No tension. Just breathing. A customer entered, flipping casually through a novel before approaching her. "Excuse me, where can I find children's books?" Anna paused for a moment, then pointed toward the corner. "Over there, near the window." "Thank you." She watched as the customer walked away. Children's books. Her chest tightened slightly. That afternoon, a little boy wandered into the store with his mother. He couldn't have been older than 6. "Mom, I want this one," he said excitedly, holding up a colorful picture book. His mother laughed. "You already have too many. But this one is different." Anna stood behind the shelf, watching them. Something about the boy's voice, his energy, it stirred something deep inside her. Lucas used to sound like that. Long ago. Before he learned to be quiet. Before he stopped calling her mom with that same excitement. The boy ran past Anna, nearly bumping into her. "Sorry," he said quickly, looking up at her with bright eyes. Anna forced a small smile. "It's okay." But as he ran back to his mother, her vision blurred. She turned away quickly, stepping into the storage room. Inside, the silence pressed in. Anna leaned against the wall, covering her mouth as her shoulders trembled. "I'm fine," she whispered to herself. But the tears came anyway. Quiet. Uncontrolled. I said I'm fine. But she wasn't. Not when every small thing reminded her of what she had lost. "Anna?" Mia's voice came from the doorway. Anna quickly wiped her face and turned around. "I'm okay." Mia didn't look convinced, but she didn't push. "Take a break if you need to." Anna nodded. "Thank you." That evening, Anna stepped out of the bookstore just as the sky began to dim. She exhaled slowly, feeling the cool air brush against her skin. "You worked too hard again." The familiar calm voice made her turn. Ethan stood a few steps away, hands in his coat pockets. Anna blinked in surprise. "Dr. Ethan?" "You can just call me Ethan," he said. She hesitated, then nodded slightly. "Okay. Ethan." He glanced at her face, noticing the faint redness around her eyes. "You've been crying." It wasn't a question. Anna looked away. "No." Ethan didn't argue. "Instead," he said, "there's a small food stall nearby. They make decent noodles." She frowned slightly. "I'm not." "You fainted last time," he reminded her calmly. "Let's not repeat that." Anna hesitated. Then, quietly, she said, "Okay." They sat across from each other at a small roadside stall. Steam rose from the bowls placed in front of them. Anna stared at hers for a moment before picking up her chopsticks. "You don't have to pretend in front of me," Ethan said suddenly. Anna froze slightly. "I'm not pretending." "You are," he replied gently. "But it's okay." His tone wasn't accusing. Just certain. Anna looked down at her bowl. For a while, neither of them spoke. Then she said quietly, "I saw a child today." Ethan waited. "He reminded me of my son." Her grip on the chopsticks tightened. "I thought I was okay," she continued. "I thought I had accepted everything." Her voice wavered slightly. But it still hurts. Ethan nodded slowly. Of course it does. Anna looked up, surprised. You lost more than a marriage, he said. You lost a part of your life. His gaze was steady. You're allowed to feel that. Anna stared at him. No one had said that to her before. Not even herself. I thought, if I left, everything would be easier, she admitted. Is it? She shook her head slowly. No. Ethan gave a small, understanding nod. Healing doesn't mean it stops hurting, he said. It just means you learn how to live with it. Anna let his words sink in. For the first time, the pain didn't feel like something she had to hide. Back in the city, Lucas sat on his bed, clutching a small toy. Lucas, David's voice came from the doorway. It's time to sleep. Lucas didn't move. Dad, he said softly, when is Mom coming back? David's expression stiffened. She's not. Why? David didn't answer immediately. Because he didn't have one. That night, Anna lay in bed again. But something felt different. The emptiness was still there. The pain hadn't gone away. But it didn't feel as overwhelming. She turned slightly, staring at the faint light coming through the window. Ethan's words echoed in her mind. You're allowed to feel that. Anna closed her eyes slowly. I miss him, she whispered. This time, she didn't try to stop the tears. She didn't try to be strong. She just let herself feel. And somehow, that felt like the beginning of something new. The bookstore was quiet that afternoon. A soft breeze drifted in through the open window, carrying the faint scent of rain. Anna stood behind the counter, flipping through a book absent-mindedly, though her eyes hadn't moved across the page for a long time. Her phone lay beside her. Silent. She hadn't expected it to ring. And yet, a small part of her still waited. It rang. The sudden sound made her freeze. For a second, she just stared at the screen. Unknown number. Her fingers hesitated before picking it up. Hello? There was a pause. Then, Mom? Anna's breath caught. Her heart stopped for a moment. Lucas. Her voice came out softer than she intended, almost fragile. On the other end, Lucas sniffled. Mom, where are you? Anna gripped the phone tightly. I'm at home. Why did you leave me? The question came so simply. So directly. But it shattered everything. Anna's lips parted, but no words came out. What could she say? That she wasn't wanted? That she was replaced? That she had tried, and failed, to be loved by her own family? She closed her eyes, forcing herself to stay calm. I didn't leave you, she said gently. I just had to go away for a while. Did I do something wrong? Lucas asked, his voice trembling. No, Anna replied immediately, her heart tightening. You did nothing wrong. Then why didn't you take me with you? Silence filled the space between them. Anna felt her chest ache, each breath heavier than the last. She began, then stopped. She couldn't tell him the truth. Not like this. You have your school, your friends, she said carefully. Your life is there. But I want you, Lucas whispered. Tears welled up in Anna's eyes. Her grip on the phone trembled slightly. Before she could respond. Lucas. David's voice cut in sharply from the other side. The line went quiet. Then disconnected. Anna lowered the phone slowly. The world around her felt distant again. Like she had been pulled back into something she was trying so hard to leave behind. Anna? Mia's voice broke through her thoughts. Anna quickly wiped her eyes. I'm okay. But her voice wasn't convincing. That evening, the sky darkened earlier than usual. Clouds gathered heavily, and soon, rain began to fall. Anna stepped out of the bookstore, holding her bag close. She didn't bring an umbrella. She didn't really notice. The rain soaked into her clothes, her hair clinging to her face as she walked slowly down the street. Anna. She stopped. That voice. She turned around. David stood a few steps away, holding a black umbrella. Perfect as always. Untouched by the rain. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The sound of raindrops filled the silence. You shouldn't be out here like this, David said finally. Anna let out a faint, almost humorless laugh. Since when did you start caring? David's expression stiffened slightly. I'm here because of Lucas. Of course. Anna nodded slowly. I figured. He called you, David continued. You shouldn't have answered. Anna looked at him, disbelief flashing across her face. He's my son. And he's confused, David replied, his tone firm. You left without explanation. What did you expect? Anna took a step forward, rain dripping from her hair. I expected you to tell him the truth. David's jaw tightened. What truth? That his mother wasn't wanted anymore. The words hung in the air. Sharp. Unavoidable. David's gaze darkened. Don't twist things. Anna let out a quiet breath. I'm not twisting anything, she said calmly. You made your choice. I respected it. She looked at him directly, her eyes steady despite the pain. But don't expect me to disappear quietly while my son thinks I abandoned him. David was silent. For the first time, he didn't have an immediate response. Anna continued, her voice softer now. I never wanted to leave him. Her lips trembled slightly, but she didn't look away. But staying meant losing myself completely. The rain fell harder. David's grip on the umbrella tightened. You're being emotional, he said after a pause. Anna smiled faintly. That familiar phrase. The one he always used. No, she replied quietly. I'm finally being honest. For a moment, they just stood there. Two people who once shared everything. Now separated by things neither of them could fix. David looked at her, really looked this time. She was different. Not the quiet, obedient woman he remembered. There was something steady in her now. Something he didn't recognize. Lucas misses you, he said. Anna's expression softened. I know. He hasn't been eating properly, David added, almost reluctantly. A flicker of concern passed through Anna's eyes. But she didn't move. You'll take care of him, she said. David frowned slightly. You're his mother. And you're his father. Her voice was calm, but firm. I'm not part of that family anymore. The words were simple. But they carried weight. Finality. The rain began to slow. Anna stepped back. I should go. David didn't stop her. But as she turned to leave, something unfamiliar settled in his chest. A feeling he couldn't quite name. That night, Anna sat by the window in her room, watching the last drops of rain slide down the glass. Her phone rested beside her. Silent again. She reached out, then pulled her hand back. Lucas, she whispered softly. Her heart ached. But this time, she didn't break. Across the city, David stood alone in the living room. The house felt unusually quiet. Sophie approached slowly. You went to see her. It wasn't a question. David didn't deny it. Sophie studied his expression carefully. "She's changed," she said. David didn't respond. But his silence said enough. For the first time, something in his perfect, controlled world felt uncertain. The night was unusually quiet. Too quiet. Inside the Chen house, the lights were still on, but something felt wrong. "Lucas?" Sophie called, knocking lightly on his bedroom door. No answer. She frowned and pushed the door open. The room was empty. The bed untouched. The window slightly open. A sudden chill ran down her spine. "David," she called out, her voice no longer calm. Footsteps approached quickly. David appeared at the doorway, his expression already tense. "What is it?" "Lucas is gone." The words landed heavily. For a second, David didn't react. As if his mind refused to process them. Then, "What do you mean gone?" "He's not here," Sophie said, her voice rising. "I checked everywhere." David stepped into the room, his sharp gaze scanning every corner. The empty bed. The open window. The silence. His jaw tightened. "Call the housekeeper. Check the cameras." His voice was steady, but colder than ever. Meanwhile, the streets were dimly lit, the night air cool. A small figure walked quickly along the roadside, his steps uneven but determined. Lucas clutched a crumpled piece of paper in his hand. An address. Anna's address. His eyes were red, his breathing shaky. But he didn't stop. "I want Mom," he whispered to himself. Back in the small town, Anna was closing the bookstore for the day. "Don't stay up too late," Mia said, grabbing her bag. "I won't," Anna replied with a faint smile. After Mia left, Anna turned off the lights and stepped outside. The street was quiet. Peaceful. She took a slow breath. For a moment, everything felt steady again. Until... "Mom!" The voice echoed through the night. Anna froze. Her heart skipped. That voice. She turned quickly. A small figure ran toward her, stumbling slightly. Lucas. Before she could react, he crashed into her arms. "Mom!" Anna staggered back slightly from the impact, but instinctively wrapped her arms around him. Her hands trembled as she held him tightly. "Lucas, what are you doing here?" "I came to find you," he cried, clinging to her. "I didn't want to stay there anymore." Anna's heart ached. She pulled back slightly, looking at his tear-streaked face. "You came alone?" she asked, her voice filled with worry. Lucas nodded. Fear shot through her. "You shouldn't have done that," she said softly, brushing his hair back. "What if something happened to you?" "But I found you," he said, as if that made everything okay. Anna's eyes filled with tears. She pulled him into another tight embrace. Headlights cut through the darkness. A car stopped abruptly nearby. The door opened. "Lucas!" David's voice rang out. Lucas stiffened slightly in Anna's arms. Anna turned slowly. David walked toward them, his expression tense, his usual composure cracked. For a moment, the three of them stood there. Like a broken picture of a family. David reached them, his eyes scanning Lucas quickly. "Are you hurt?" Lucas shook his head but didn't let go of Anna. "I want Mom," he said again, his voice smaller now. David's expression tightened. He looked at Anna. Their eyes met. So many emotions passed between them. Anger. Regret. Something unspoken. "You shouldn't have left like that," David said finally, his voice controlled but strained. I didn't think you would come this far, Anna replied quietly. That's not the point. Anna's gaze hardened slightly. Then what is? David paused. For once. He didn't have a clear answer. Lucas, Anna said gently, kneeling down in front of him. You have to go back with Dad. Lucas shook his head immediately. No! I want to stay with you. Anna's heart broke at his words. She cupped his face softly. I know, she whispered. But you can't run away like this. It's dangerous. I don't like it there, he said, tears falling again. Nobody understands me. Anna swallowed the lump in her throat. I understand you, she said softly. And I'm right here. Lucas looked at her, his small hands gripping her sleeves. Then don't leave me again. The words hit harder than anything else. Anna closed her eyes briefly. Then opened them, steady. I won't leave you, she said gently. But I can't go back either. Lucas didn't fully understand. But he felt the weight of her words. David watched the scene in silence. Something inside him shifted. For the first time. He saw it clearly. Lucas wasn't just being stubborn. He was hurting. And Anna. She wasn't running away. She was surviving. Sophie stood a few steps behind, having arrived quietly. She watched everything. Her expression was complicated. Then she spoke. David. Her voice broke the moment. He turned slightly. You always thought control was enough, she said calmly. But people aren't things you can manage. David frowned. This isn't the time. No, she interrupted softly. This is exactly the time. She looked at Lucas. Then at Anna. You didn't just lose a wife, she continued. You made your son feel like he lost his mother too. Silence fell. Heavy. Unavoidable. Anna stood up slowly, holding Lucas's hand. She walked him toward David. Lucas resisted slightly. But Anna gently squeezed his hand. Go, she whispered. I'll see you again. Lucas hesitated. Then slowly, reluctantly, he let go. David took his hand. For once. His grip wasn't firm. Just careful. Anna stepped back, putting distance between them. Not out of weakness, but choice. Take care of him, she said. David nodded. He wanted to say something, but the words didn't come. As the car drove away, Lucas looked back through the window. Mom! Anna raised her hand. A small smile on her face. But her eyes were filled with tears. That night, Anna stood alone under the streetlight. The silence returned. But it didn't feel empty anymore. It felt clear. Behind her, a familiar voice spoke softly. You did the right thing. Anna turned. Ethan stood there, having witnessed everything. I don't know if it was right, she admitted. Ethan looked at her gently. It was honest. Anna let out a quiet breath. For the first time. She felt it. Not just pain. But strength. Something steady. Something real. I think, she said slowly, I'm finally learning how to let go. Ethan nodded. And this time, she didn't feel like she was losing everything. She felt like she was finally rebuilding. Morning sunlight filled the bookstore, brighter than usual. Anna stood by the window, adjusting a stack of books neatly. Her movements were calm, practiced. There was no rush, no hesitation, just quiet confidence. Anna, this section looks perfect, Mia said, walking over with a smile. Anna glanced at it and nodded. We've had more customers lately. I think we should expand the reading corner. Mia raised an eyebrow playfully. Look at you, making plans already. Anna smiled faintly. Plans. It was a simple word, but it meant something entirely different now. I think it's time, Anna said softly. It had been 3 months. 3 months since that rainy night. 3 months since everything broke and began again. Anna's life was no longer unstable. She had a steady job at the bookstore. She helped Grandma Lynn at home. She even started reading again, not to pass time, but because she wanted to. And Lucas. She still spoke to him. Not every day. But enough. Carefully. Gently. Like rebuilding something fragile. That afternoon, Anna stood outside a school gate. Children ran out one by one, laughing, shouting, full of life. Then she saw him. Mom! Lucas ran toward her, his face lighting up. Anna knelt down just in time to catch him in her arms. Hey, she said softly, brushing his hair back. You came. I said I would. Lucas grinned, holding her tightly. There was no hesitation anymore. No distance. Just warmth. From a distance, David watched quietly. He stood beside his car, his posture still composed, but his eyes were different. Softer. More aware. When Lucas finally let go, he looked up at Anna. Can I visit you this weekend? Anna smiled. Of course. Lucas turned to David excitedly. Dad, can I go? David paused for a moment. Then nodded. If your mom agrees. Anna met his gaze. There was no hostility now. Just understanding. I'll bring him back on Sunday, she said. David nodded again. Thank you. The words were simple. But they carried something new. Respect. Later that evening, Anna walked slowly along a quiet path, the sunset painting the sky in soft gold. You look different. Ethan's voice came from beside her. Anna glanced at him, a small smile forming. Different how? Lighter, he said. Like you're not carrying everything alone anymore. Anna thought about it. He wasn't wrong. I think. I finally stopped trying to hold on to things that were never mine to keep. Ethan nodded slightly. They walked in silence for a while. Comfortable silence. Anna, Ethan said after a moment. She turned to him. I've been patient, he continued calmly. Not because I had to, but because I wanted to. Anna didn't interrupt. I don't expect anything from you, he added. But I want you to know. I'm here. His voice was steady. No pressure. No urgency. Just sincerity. Anna looked at him quietly. In the past, love had felt like something she had to earn. Something she had to fight for. But with Ethan, it felt simple. Safe. I'm not the same person I was before, Anna said softly. I know, Ethan replied. And I don't want to go back to who I was. You don't have to. Anna held his gaze. For a moment, she didn't speak. Then, she smiled. A real smile. I'm willing to try, she said. Not a promise. Not a declaration. Just a beginning. Ethan smiled back. And that was enough. In the city, David sat alone in the living room. The house felt different now. Quieter. Sophie's things were gone. Her absence was noticeable, but not painful. just inevitable. Her last words still lingered in his mind. You don't know how to love people. You only know how to keep them. At the time, he had dismissed it. Now, he understood. Lucas's laughter echoed faintly from another room. David stood up slowly and walked toward it. He paused at the doorway, watching his son play. Happy. At ease. Something he hadn't seen in a long time. Dad, Lucas called. Mom said we can go to the bookstore this weekend. David nodded. That sounds good. Lucas grinned and went back to playing. David stayed there for a moment longer. Then quietly said, Thank you, Anna. Back in the small town. Night fell gently. Anna stood by her window, looking out at the quiet street. Her reflection stared back at her. But this time, she recognized the person she saw. Not someone lost. Not someone waiting to be chosen. But someone whole. Her phone buzzed. A message from Lucas. Good night, Mom Redheart. Anna smiled softly and replied. Good night. She placed her phone down and looked outside again. The night was calm. Peaceful. Full of quiet possibilities. The day I left. I thought I lost everything, she whispered to herself. She paused. Then smiled faintly. But I was wrong. Her eyes softened. I found myself. The lights dimmed. The story didn't end with regret. Or longing. Or unfinished love. It ended with something stronger. Something quieter. Something real. And for the first time, Anna was finally free.